Yes, now recording is started. Okay, one and all, good morning to all faculty members and dear students for our today's webinar. So I, Mrs. Pallavi Shinde, welcome you all on behalf of Department of Civil Engineering, Srinagar College of Engineering for our today's webinar on Insight of Practicals on Architecture and Planning. So today's webinar will be given by our resource person, Mrs. Vaishali Limaye, madam. So before giving introduction about madam, I request to our HOD sir, Dr. Samir Shastri sir, to say few words about today's webinar. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Pallavi madam, and good morning to all the participants, faculty members, students who have joined from various colleges as well as SCOE and my coordinating team headed by Limaye madam. I take this opportunity to welcome you all on behalf of the Department of Civil Engineering at Srinagar College of Engineering. Uh, I think there is no need to give separate information about our college as such because it is one of the renowned college with experienced faculty member. That is the plus point that we have. Many of our faculty members are having experience, large experience, huge experience in their domain. And Srinagar College, of course, it is under the aegis of Srinagar Technical Education Society, and we have more than 110 institutions and existence in almost all streams from say KG to PG and PhD. These are the streams available. As regards civil department, we started functioning in 2000, although we got permission in 1999, but by that time the admission procedure for that year was over. So we started admissions from 2000 with an intake of just intake of 30, and today we have an intake of 180 students. Two PG programs, we have structures and environmental engineering and PhD also. So our department is recognized PhD center, and currently about 10-11 students are pursuing their PhD. So as regards this particular subject, ATP, as I always say that anything that we do, particularly we as civil engineers, it has an adverse impact on environment. On one side we are creators, and on the other side we are destroyers, because we are creating, we cannot create something without destroying or hampering other thing, isn't it? मी मराठीत जसं म्हणतो, एकीकडे खड्डा केला तर दुसरीकडे उंचवटा होणार, तसं आहे. सो इफ यू आर क्रिएटिंग समथिंग, वी आर डिपेंडंट ऑन रिसोर्सेस, and of course the resources are coming from the nature, and we are building on the nature. So again there will be destruction. So when we are extracting the materials, say for say material required for construction like sand, cement, concrete, or aggregates, etc., then we are extracting it from the nature. We are converting it into some useful material, maybe like concrete or structural steel or bricks or windows, doors, whatever you say. But we are creating something, but at the same time by destroying something. So there has to be a balance between these two, that is the destruction and the creation. And I would say destruction should be minimum, bare minimum, it should be made possible. And I think that starts from planning, because if we plan everything properly, most of our difficulties in terms of wastage, in terms of wastage of area, wastage of resources, because if we don't orient even our building properly, we are not making proper use of the natural ventilation, the natural light and sunlight available, the wind available, etc. You have learned these aspects in your respective subjects, and I'm glad that this particular subject of now ATP is, which was their elective earlier also in B, now it has come to say the earlier level of third year. But yes, students will get a chance to know something about planning and what are the requirements of planning, particularly you can say the town planning also. So town planning is one of the I would say important things which now gaining say importance as compared to the time in between. Say maybe between say some last for 20, 25, 30 years, maybe not much attention or no serious attention was given by all. But yes, there are some examples like Chandigarh or Pimpri Chinchwad new township in our area, who have done excellently well. If you see their planning and everything, it is perfect. Navi Mumbai area, so it is good from job prospect point of view also. ATP has got good, you can say, a good opportunity. Many of our students, they are now class one officers in our town planning department. So from career point of view also, this subject has got importance. And I'm glad to share with you that somebody like Limaye madam, who is going to interact with you for next 3 4 hours, she is one of the persons, I would say, who has got keen interest in drawing and drawing related subjects, because town planning and basically planning or creativity. So she is a person who has a creative mind in different areas. So somebody who has got creativity, these people, they can plan in a better manner than others. So from that perspective also, you people, you will be fortunate enough, the students from various colleges, the faculty members, that you will get to interact with her, and with her vast experience of more than 25 years in teaching plus industrial. I am sure next 3 4 hours, whatever time that she will be spending with you, it will be useful. It will be giving you an insight, particularly for the practicals. And I'm sure if any one of you want to contact ma'am, and if you contact ma'am, whether you are her student or not, she will try to give her best to the extent possible. Not that we know everything, under the umbrella, under the world, but I'm sure, or she will get you associated with, connected with other people working who are expert in this area. So with this particular thing in mind, and once again, I welcome you. And I'm happy that this particular orientation for practicals has been organized by faculty members as well as students. I would be happy if those who are attending, they are students. You just raise your thumb so that I can come to know how many students have joined this webinar. So students, yes, some hands are coming up. Thank you so much. So welcome you all once again, and over to you, Pallavi madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your words. So let us just go with our today's resource person, Mrs. Vaishali Limbe ma'am. Um, just out the introduction about madam's. Ma'am has completed her bachelor degree in engineering from MIT College of Engineering in 1989. Then after that, she has done MTech in Town and Country Planning from COEP Pune in 2006. And then ma'am has done Master in Personal Management from Institute of Business Management and Research from Pune University in 2012. Madam has worked for a funding project under Pune University, which is completed, that is a research project. Then ma'am has various achievements and awards. Ma'am has won Best Paper Award in May 2020 at the international conference. Then she has won various uh, prizes. She has published a poem also. Then she has interest in various cultural activities which is held under the university and under our college. Madam has delivered various guest lectures, about more than 15 guest lectures Madam has delivered to various colleges and on the various subjects of architectural town planning. Then Madam has conducted the various workshops under our college. Then has done the various training details. About more than 20 training Madam has conducted. Then workshops also Madam has attended on architectural designs, impact on mind. Then Madam has done with the various conferences, then webinar series under our college, under the SPPU. In such use personality here we are with today's webinar. Then I request to all the students to get in touch with ma'am to know about all the means architectural basics. Then ma'am has done the various research papers publication in the journals. About more than 20 research papers ma'am has published in the international journals, international conferences and the national conferences. Ma'am has worked as a judge, as a jury member in a national conference on Panchatattva in Civil Engineering Department of Sinhagad College of Engineering. Then ma'am has worked as a member of interview panel at various colleges also. Then after that, ma'am has done a reviewer in an international conference on sustainable development. So madam has a membership of various memberships also madam has. Then the books also more than 7 books ma'am has published on building planning and design, building technology and materials, then architecture and town planning, and building technology and architectural planning. So these books have published for SPPU syllabus. So this is about our today's resource person, Mrs. Vaishali Limaye ma'am. So I request to ma'am to start your session. So before starting our session, so there are some instructions to the participants. So if you are having any question, means if webinar is going on, then you have to just put email to us. The details are given in registration details are already given, and the email ID are also already given. So just you have to put a email to madam. So ma'am will give you answers through email if you are having any doubt or any questions while webinar is going on. So now I request to ma'am, just please start your session.
Thank you, Pallavi.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the screen visible to you?
Yes, ma'am. Screen is visible.
So, good morning, one and all, uh, the faculty members and dear students. I am here to give you some insight about the practicals in architecture and town planning. We are going to start with the details from your syllabus content, basically. So, in the term work part, if you are considering, the term work is consisting of a journal, which will comprising of various aspects. Serial number 1, 2, and 10, they are compulsory, and you are supposed to finish with any 5 from remaining. So I have mentioned initially the compulsory aspect, that is, of course, I will be conducting it in the end, but mentioned it initially. So study and analysis of DP, then the neighborhood planning with calculation part. That is why the calculator is needed. And then e-learning. So these three are to be dealt in the end, and they are compulsory. And from the other, you are observing uh, out of remaining 8, you are supposed to finish with 5. So these are the details of the same. And sometimes you are observing that the work is individually to be carried out, or sometimes it is mentioned that group work is expected. So maximum group is of 5 students, which is permitted according to your syllabus. So let us start with the first aspect, that is report on contribution of engineers, planners, architects in post-independence India. This work is an individual work. So from where you will be starting with the completion of the contents. First step, check for the list of engineers, planners, and architects uh, with the work in post-independence India. So obviously, when you are going to check for the list, you will be finalizing one engineer, one planner, and one architect. So how you will be starting? The basic information about that particular person, the format will be strictly handwritten with the details that are expected under it. First is the name, birth date, early life. So why that early life is to be studied? Just to understand whether there is any connection with the present profession. Like if you are considering about engineer, whether engineering aptitude is seen in early life, that is to be judged. Then the next part that you can introduce is the career aspect of it or the professional path in brief. Then the projects handled, and within the projects itself, you will be mentioning or highlighting the case study that you have chosen. Now, under the case study, you are supposed to refer the documents that are available. You can download it, maybe soft copies that are available in different national, international papers, journals, then the official websites that are of the organizations or the person himself. Then you will be mentioning, or while downloading, you are supposed to read that particular case study appropriately. You will be highlighting the salient points of that particular case study, inclusive of his methodology, his conceptual aptitude, the techniques and the approaches that he has mentioned for that particular case study, the efficiency parameters that may be observed for that particular case study. So you will have to use the highlighter. Then only we will understand that we means the faculty members will understand that you have actually read that particular article appropriately. And then the last part, which is again handwritten part, so in that you are supposed to write about the conclusion. Now, how to have the conclusion? It will be the combination of first two aspect. That is, you will be checking for the career professional path, and then you will be highlighting about the salient points, and then your own conclusion is to be drawn. Like if you are considering again about the planner, uh, what vision he has developed for while developing any of the area or any of the town. Likewise, details you can mention in the end when you are writing actually the conclusion part of it. So I have introduced here the glimpses, whatever works are carried out earlier by the students. So just you can see he has mentioned about urban planner. So in initial handwritten part and conclusion part, 2 pages each for every person and his work. So automatically 3 persons are there. So 3 persons and 2 pages each category. So first part, initial and conclusion. So 4 pages in all for engineer, 4 pages in all for town planner, and then 4 pages for an architect. So summation will be 4 plus 4 plus 4. And then the case study. This is what is expected. And you can see what contents they have mentioned. Like initial introduction he has mentioned, then the works list carried out, and then the saline features. Here you can check the highlighting is done. You can mention or put forth the facts that are drawn by an architect, or when you are considering about the planner, how beautifully he has used the area for benefiting the residents likewise. And then the conclusion. This is to be mentioned. Then the next part, coming to the next part, that is your uh, assignment number 4. So in assignment number 4, report on any existing new towns or planned towns or satellite towns like New Mumbai, Gandhinagar, etc. in relation with town planning aspects, inclusive of infrastructure, disaster management, etc. and individual work, it is mentioned. Now the word is here, it is clearly mentioned existing new towns or planned towns or satellite towns. So anything you can select and then you will be following the steps. Now, when you are dealing with the new towns specifically, you will have to understand the importance of MRTP Act 1966. In which chapter number you are going to get the process for new towns. So it is chapter number 6. And then the steps that are involved, you are supposed to understand in what way you are going ahead with the detailing process. First is the basic step. Check for the list of new towns or planned towns or satellite towns. Then select the case study, which will be indicating different town planning aspects, inclusive of what is mentioned in the syllabus, which is important, infrastructure and disaster management. Two words are specifically mentioned. So you will be selecting that particular case study. Then the report will include, a part will be obviously handwritten part. For the handwritten part, you can include the points like what is the meaning and need of either the new towns or planned towns or satellite towns, because the case studies are different for different entities. Then the second part that you can introduce in the handwritten aspect, possibility of an area which may be developed as new towns or planned towns or satellite towns. Like if you are considering about very congested cities like Mumbai, what kind of pressure is developed on that core city? And because of that pressure, sometimes it is essential to develop the area which may be nearby the old city and appropriately connected. And in what way it is developed. So whether for the adjoining area, it is possible to develop that area as new town, that you must understand. That means, in other words, it will be the feasibility check for an area to reduce the pressure on original cities. Then whether any typical development authority other than the corporation or council is also responsible for development with the objectives defined, predefined objectives set. Like SIDCO is involved in development of New Mumbai. Likewise. So you are supposed to understand that parameter also, and then you will be mentioning the facts. Then perhaps you may get stage-wise implementation flowchart, because you have referred the websites of that particular development authority for the said area with approximate costing details. Not necessarily every time you are going to get all the details, but sometimes you may be getting such details on their official website. So you can include these parameters as well. Now the case study. For any of the case study, again you will be referring the document that is available, which can be downloaded and which is available even on official website. Now what is the difference? So here new towns or satellite towns etc. are there. So you can download the map of that particular area which is having the color code mentioned over there, like residential is indicated in yellow or so. With locational aspect, connectivity features, connectivity aspect, and any important features that are observed on the map. Likewise, you can have and you can put forth that particular map. highlighting the salient points which are inclusive of techniques, approaches, TP aspects, inclusive of TP means town planning aspects, inclusive of infrastructure and disaster management. And the conclusion is to be written for any of the aspects, any of the two aspects for the same. Now, why it is essential to have these kind of details? Because now you can understand why there is a difference and why there is a need to have such type of interaction with you people. Is earlier aspect 2 वर्षापूर्वी काय कंडिशन होती तर the students were able to actually visit the field to understand the development plan area, to understand maybe new towns because they are residing over there. So it is possible to go ahead with the field visit to understand positive and negative points of the area, what kind of processes are adopted, that also can be judged. And if at all any inappropriateness is observed, that same area the students were taking for the your compulsory part, that is neighborhood plan. So whatever problems are associated with the area, if the students are able to find out the issues, they are giving the solution through, they are trying to give. I will not say 100% they are able, but they are trying to give the solutions through the neighborhood plan. And now during these 2 years, it is not possible to have the field visits. The feedback is not possible from the residents because you cannot have the questionnaire with you and you are visiting the residents and you are checking with their approaches. So there is increased dependency on e-resources, and that is why there is a dire need to conduct such type of orientation program. Then comes, just understand what I have mentioned over here is you are observing the photographs, like introduction is there, then details of that particular developed area is there, consultants that are appointed, then the action area. Sometimes for certain areas, immediate action is taken. So that particular action, if you are considering for one particular area, corresponding economic aspect, whether any central busy district is there. Here you can see this is CBD, that is central busy district is there within the area. What kind of approaches are used for that said area? Likewise, then you can mention about further aspects, that is the promotions like connectivity, as I have mentioned. So for that connectivity, roads and bridges, the buildings that are developed appropriately, is there any flyover? Likewise, so all such details, and even the problems that you are observing within the area that are mentioned in over here. Then comes the conclusion part. Here you can see that the map is there with the color code, which is used for indicating a variety of zones, and then the conclusion part of it. So if you are considering about the importance, you can strengthen your submission work by putting up the images, by putting up the statistics or the issues, as I have mentioned, identifying the issues, that is also possible. Then comes the next part that you are going to use or observe is the point number 5, that is assignment number 5, which is dealing with study of salient features of urban renewal schemes. Now, in case of urban renewal scheme, A part, first part, as usual, it is representing handwritten part. In the handwritten part, it is expected that the students are giving the answers of what is the concept of urban renewal, the purpose of urban renewal. Is there any specific flow chart which is indicating from where that urban renewal process will start and where it will end? What is the reason behind that particular process? When the dire need is observed to go ahead with the urban renewal process. All such details you are supposed to mention while dealing with the urban renewal. Then, what are the development strategies observed while going ahead with the process of urban renewal? And after the implementation of urban renewal, what expectations the residents may have in their mind, like dilapidated condition, distressed condition of an area is there, then the urban renewal process will start, rejuvenation will start, and further, when the process is complete, you are going to observe beautification of area, restructuring of area, strengthening of area as regards transportation corridor is concerned. Likewise, however, sometimes in case you will also observe some of the issues that are present over there. I will give you one example. Nine Sadashiv. Have you heard of that Nine Sadashiv? So that Nine Sadashiv case study is in Pune, and nine such vadas. They have come together and the process has been started. However, certain issues are raised and the work is stopped right now. So even though the process has been started years back, some issues, political, legal, or maybe administrative kind of thing, you may be observing for that particular case study, and then the case study may not be completed, or maybe if you are considering about the tenure, there is a delay for that particular work. Then the second part that you are going to observe is the case study. In the case study, you are going to check for different promotions, like you may be putting the photographs indicating the distressed condition of the area, dilapidated condition of the buildings you may be observing, perhaps for the infrastructure also that is not appropriate. Likewise, so you can strengthen your case study by putting the photographs. Then you may be mentioning about the steps that are involved for the execution or implementation of the urban renewal scheme, and then the agencies involved under that particular process, with, of course, the objectives. The salient features of that particular case study, again, you will be using the highlighter so that it will be possible for you also to use that particular point while writing the conclusion. And then thereafter you will be mentioning about the process detailing for the urban renewal. Conclusion using above two aspects, that is A and B. Again, it will be strictly handwritten. So everywhere two parts are handwritten, and the middle part will be representing a case study which is to be highlighted. Of course, the parameters that you are observing in between, they are different. They are changing from that particular assignment to assignment. So here I have mentioned about the urban renewal scheme. You can observe that reasons why urban renewal is required is mentioned clearly. The backdrop, the need is displayed over here. And then if you are considering about the next aspect, you may be observing the case study after that. Here also you can observe urban renewal process the agencies involved like Zen and URM. Sometimes you are observing Amrut, sometimes you are observing Hriday or so. And then for the case study, again, the highlighting process is to be carried out appropriately. And then you can go ahead with the task of details like you may be giving some kind of funding details. So why these kind of aspects are promoted? Because as a responsible citizen, it is your duty to understand in what way the public fund is used. So there must be some kind of checkpoint. So as a student of architecture and town planning, you have that kind of, I mean, opportunity to study all these aspects at your T level itself. So take the advantage of this particular subject. And then the conclusion is to be drawn. So while going ahead with the conclusion, you may be mentioning about the benefits, outcomes, then the need, why there is a need, etc. Is there any government initiative, different schemes as we have discussed, then the cost and implementation process or strategies, if any, likewise. So these points you can adopt for the conclusion part. Then coming to the next assignment, you are checking for the sixth assignment, that is study of any existing TP scheme, that is town planning scheme. Again, you will be referring some chapter from MRTP Act 1966. So it is chapter number 5 that you are supposed to understand and mention the glimpses of the same. So in a part handwritten, you will be mentioning about what is TP scheme, general briefing about TP scheme. What is the purpose of that particular TP scheme? List of TP schemes in Maharashtra as well as in other states. You can mention fewer names. The technique that is adopted for implementation of TP scheme. And then it will be the case study part. Now, while dealing with the case study part, it is essential that the case study must mention the technique adopted. So, in the technique adopted, initially the entire land is pulled together as if at all you are considering right now, say 100 students are there. Out of those 100 students, 30 students has vested had vested their land with a single person, say Limaye madam. So Limaye madam will be pulling the land together. म्हणजे 30च्या 30 जणांची land लिमये मॅडम कडे दिली. So that is pooling technique. Now, after pooling technique, what Limaye ma'am is doing? So she will be redistributing the area depending upon whether the earlier person, I mean, those who are having actually their own land vested with Limaye madam now, whether they are interested in the land. So if there is interest of the original landowner, after redistribution of the plots, it is essential to give some area to them, and then the execution will start. So while they going ahead with redistribution, what Limaye madam will do, initial problems associated with the area, she will try to overcome. So perhaps if road network is inappropriate, she will try to modify because she has pulled the land together. So entire land is with her now. So she will be redistributing the plots. She will be going ahead with road network facilitation, appropriate road network facilitation. And because of that, perhaps what will happen is few of the areas which are in the end, they are now having approach because the road network is new. So the better condition will be observed for such plots. So they will have to pay the betterment charges. And if by chance, while redistribution of the plot, the original land is, say, say 4 acres. And now, because of the development process, instead of 4 acres, now the person is getting 3.2 acres only. That means there is a loss of 0.8 acres. So the person will be offering compensation. So betterment and compensation, you will have to understand. So two techniques, pooling of land and betterment and compensation. So it is clearly mentioned in chapter number 5. So you read chapter number 5 appropriately. And what is the expected outcome of providing such TP schemes, that you are supposed to write with the conclusion part of the same. So here you can, after check for the photographs, after handwritten part, again a case study is put forth with highlighting and photographs, and then study of that particular existing township is mentioned in depth, along with the conclusion part that is to be understood. Then the next assignment, that is assignment number 7. So if you are checking for assignment 7, before I forgot, for that particular conclusion, you may be mentioning about the figures. Figures means the costing details. Sometimes you may be having the possibility of land pooling and redistribution. So whatever is mentioned in the case study, that you will be mentioning along with betterment and compensation aspect. Then comes point number 7, that is URD PFI or Amrut guidelines. So first of all, what is Amrut and what is URD PFI? Anyone? Full form? You can mention that maybe in the chat box. Full form of URD PFI or Amrut guidelines. Anyone? Urban and regional development plans formulation and implementation guidelines. Yes. And what about Amrut? So this is what is expected by the students. I think I'm getting the answers from few of the faculty members as well. So the students are supposed to mention about the facts about the same, because why I'm asking you to go ahead with the full forms is sometimes in MCQ pattern you may be required to give such type of answers. What is the full form of so and so? Likewise, MCQs are also maybe there. So coming back to the presentation part. Uh, as regards that 7, study of URD PFI and Amrut. So full form initially you will be mentioning. Now what is the need of the guidelines? आता तुम्हाला कॉलेजमध्ये पण काहीतरी गाईडलाईन्स असतात. त्याचं कारण काय आहे? तर some kind of discipline is needed for smooth functioning, whether it is academic performance, whether it is administrative kind of thing. So you need some guideline. So same aspect you can consider for maybe the town or the area which is to be developed, and the expected outcome if the guidelines are appropriately followed in relation with the town planning. So in that aspect, you will be checking for what is mentioned in URDPFI or Amrut with objectives or the extent of area or the contents if you are checking for the same. So contents with the detailed description, like maybe if you are considering about water supply, say for that matter. So for water supply, what kind of guidelines are given? For electrical supply, for infrastructural details, what kind of guidelines are promoted? So these two guidelines, you will be selecting any two guidelines which are to be reflected through the case study. And hence it is essential that you will be selecting the case study which are giving you the details of selected two guidelines. Otherwise, what will happen? You will be mentioning fewer facts in handwritten part. However, in case study, there is no mention of these two guidelines. So that kind of disparity should not be there in your submission work. So select that particular case study which is having enough guidelines incorporated within it, and any two of them you can select. Of course, you will be again referring the download, the document that is readily available, maybe through the papers or official website. As usual, highlight the salient points with inclusion of techniques, approaches, costing, facts. Then maybe perhaps sometimes you may be observing about the drawing details or so, and then you can go ahead with the conclusion, which is strictly handwritten. Then the next part. So just observe here, Amrut. For Amrut, the thrust areas are mentioned. So out of these thrust areas, for the case study, which particular area she has concentrated? So it is the water supply and case study of leak detection in water supply network. So that kind of details you may be observing while dealing with the case study. And then it will be the conclusion part, which will be taking care of A as well as B. Now, if you are considering about the next, which is dependent on study of special townships or SEZ or CRZ or rural planning. So any of the area can be selected. A part will be your handwritten part with meaning of the special townships or what is SEZ or what is CRZ, etc. What kind of objectives are set from the government or typical organization involved for the development under special townships or maybe the SEZ or CRZ, etc. Is there any legal backup for the development? Like, is there any act? आता SEZ असेल तर SEZ ऍक्ट आहे का, CRZ असेल तर CRZ ऍक्ट आहे का, likewise. So you are supposed to understand the legal backdrop of the same, and then perhaps you will be going ahead with list. Prior to list, if agency other than or organization other than the government is involved, that also is to be mentioned over there. And then the government documents or government schemes, whether there is involvement, like specifically in case of rural planning, typical योजना असतात, काही काही योजना स्कीम्स म्हणजे, तर त्या तुम्ही लिहिणं गरजेचं आहे. Then the case study, as usual, documents to be referred, highlighting, and then it will be the conclusion part. So as regards SEZ is concerned, I have listed down what you can do, and parallel formats you can use for special townships or the CRZ aspect. So either it will be the definition or it will be the meaning. First, legal backdrop. Is there any act which is giving you the support legislative mechanism is there, aim and objectives, which is predefined, role of different agencies or organizations involved, what kind of benefits are observed, or or even for ACZ, you are observing some kind of issues are popped up in relation with Indian scenario. That means in India, you are not observing enough development of ACZs. So you will have to go ahead with such kind of details while dealing with, say, ACZ, CRZ or so. Then you will be going ahead with the task of case study, and then it will be the conclusion. So parallelly, special township law, what is the minimum requirement of the area for special townships? Then nowadays, earlier it was said that the land parcel must be continuous. And now why discontinuation is mentioned, I mean, is accepted. म्हणजे आधी एकच लँड हवी स्पेशल टाउनशिप साठी एका बिल्डरकडे, बिल्डर म्हणण्यापेक्षा डेव्हलपरकडे. दॅट वॉज द टास्क विच वॉज मेन्शन. अँड नाव why that special township, maybe it is vested with one person, but maybe at two different location with appropriate connectivity, with summation of minimum how many hectares or how many acres are mentioned. So that kind of detail हे अंडरस्टँड करणं गरजेचं आहे. So faculty members must help the students to get such details in depth. Then comes the rural planning. So in rural planning, typically, because this is newly introduced, so in rural planning, you will be giving the backdrop like need of rural planning, elements involved in rural planning, methods adopted or involved in the rural planning, role of government, the strategies and approaches promoted. Is there any scheme for the rural planning aspect, case study, and conclusion? So when I'm mentioning about the schemes like maybe Adarsh Gram Yojana, Indira Gandhi Awas Yojana, Manrega, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, etc. So all such aspects the students are supposed to understand, of course, with the help from the faculty members. So this is to be carried out while dealing with your rural planning aspect, which is a new introduction in the syllabus. Now, the next aspect, study of urban conservation or housing and housing change or sustainable architecture, which is ancient. So if you are considering about aspects or approaches, what is to be included over here is meaning of urban conservation. First part I'm explaining. Then the need and ways of urban conservation. So this will be obviously to be mentioned in your handwritten part. Then the case study with highlighting of salient features, and then it will be the conclusion part. This is to be understood in relation with typically every particular assignment. However, for housing and housing change, meaning, need, ways, that is okay. But when you are dealing with case study, in what way you are supposed to progress? Because when you are mentioning about housing change, you are selecting one particular area or street for which the documents are available. Progression is there because when you are mentioning about the change, you must be going to that particular era where maybe 60, 70 years back. So whether there is any document available, whether any statistical data is available, photos are available, etc., that you are supposed to check and then you will be going ahead with the conclusion for that particular selected area, selected street for understanding housing and housing change. And in relation with sustainable architecture, you will be again going ahead with meaning, need, process that is adopted for sustainable architecture, any ancient case study, right from temples to buildings to anything else. You can mention जयपूर, राजस्थान, महाराष्ट्रामधले जुने किल्ले, हैदराबाद सिटी, कुठलीही सिटी घेतली, wherein you are going to get the sustainable architecture, which is ancient, that you will be selecting. Again, the support is to be observed from different documents, photos, statistical data, and then you will be writing the conclusion using this particular format only. So if you observe prior to that, this sustainable architecture was not there in earlier syllabus. It is recently introduced. So this is the work carried out by one of my student. Case study directly I am mentioning. So she has considered Jangli Maharaj Road, and in that it was possible to refer it from net as well as visit that particular area. कारण हे 2 वर्षापूर्वीचं किंवा 3 वर्षापूर्वीचं काम आहे. So she has taken the advantage of both. She has referred fewer aspects from the net, because you can refer in the photograph Zem Road 1860. So this is obviously the old photograph. Here also you can refer 1990. So this is old photograph, 2010 old photograph. So all such old photographs are there. And then she has also considered Parvati details, and this particular photograph 2018. So she was from that particular batch. So she has visited it. She has taken this particular photograph, and then the conclusion is drawn. So whenever it is possible, maybe even for this year also, if by any chance it is possible for you to visit the area, you can strengthen your documentational process by adding the recent photographs. And for the conservation, she has considered the area from or nearby Parvati, old photograph, new photograph, and then the conservation technique which is adopted, and then the conclusion part for the same. Is there any doubt up till now? Madam, you can unmute few of the students as well as faculty members.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes, is there any doubt? Students as well as faculty members?
You can raise your hand.
Yes.
Raise your hands if you are having any doubt, so that you can.
Sneha? Sneha Khedekar?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, no doubt from my side.
No doubt from your
Ma'am.
side. Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay. म्हणजे it is going on smoothly?
Yes, ma'am. Perfectly. No issue.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So Satkar Badekar? सिव्हिलचा स्टुडंट
Hello.
दिसतोय, काही शंका आहेत?
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Good morning,
ओके
madam.
ओके.
Limaye, madam. Hello.
कोण बोलतंय सर? ऐकू येत नाहीये.
Hello.
हा
I'm talk. I'm talking Dr. Nangre from AISSMS Shivi.
ओके.
Hello.
अच्छा नांगरे सर,
So whether
हा बोला ना सर.
I'm audible? Whether I'm audible?
येस यू आर ऑडिबल सर.
You are nicely presenting very nice things, and I'm happy with you. You are sharing
येस
some handwritten documents along with the
येस येस
photographs,
येस येस
and
येस सर.
now this is needed for students whenever you are going for the historical background for any city, any town, whenever you are applying any rules, right? So I want to highlight here specifically with urban conservation parts. So can you consider the Mohenjo-daro and Harappa city where the
Yes, sir,
planning
it is
was made?
ancient architecture, but if you are having some kind of document detailing, then only you select that particular case study. Because if by any chance for that particular case study documentation is not up to the mark, then perhaps students will not be able to conclude it appropriately.
Okay, okay. And
Okay.
regarding with the Lavasa city, which is available near to our Pune,
Yes,
and the
so
Lavasa.
if possible, visit can be arranged over there.
Okay.
If COVID situation is giving us that particular chance, then try to have a visit over there. Otherwise, you for this semester at least you rely on documentation itself. Okay.
Because of that, the entire city was developed by adopting the new technique and advanced technique,
Yes,
particularly
yes, yes, yes.
over there, so that the students are getting the knowledge about the recent development over the cities.
Yes, sir. Actually, earlier syllabus, earlier contents has mentioned typically for township that a visit is compulsory. And now that compulsory word is, I mean, removed, I think, during that particular because of that COVID condition also.
Okay. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
So,
okay. Thank you, madam.
yes,
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
yes. So then it is e-learning Maharera. So for that e-learning Maharera, what is expected? This is again an important aspect in relation with town planning. So A part, which is handwritten, you will be mentioning about the need and objectives of RERA. Then areas under Maharera, the process which is followed for the development of any of the area or any of the building or any of small township. So that process is to be mentioned. You can strengthen again if any flowchart is floated over there. Then the official website is mentioned in your syllabus. So you can refer or you can check on that particular link. Different tabs will be opened over there. So you can open each and every tab, read the contents under that particular tab and understand the process in depth. The students, while reading that particular tab, you can even take the screenshots so that those screenshots in your report, because even e-learning is mentioned, you will have to finally complete the report. So the screenshots can be taken and on the screenshot itself, you can highlight. So you can write down whatever you have understood under that particular tab, and then the interdependency of different tabs can be checked. Like, like if you are dealing with the complaints, then the person involved for the resolution mechanism. So these two tabs are interlinked. If you are considering about registration under RERA, then what kind of documents are needed? So these two are again interlinked. Likewise, you are supposed to check for the interdependency of different tabs. And then you will be going ahead with any case study which is there available, and then you can write the conclusion. Of course, conclusion will be obviously combination of above two aspects. But most important is tab opening, print screening, understanding interdependency between different tabs, and then only you will be finishing with your report. So here, if you observe, MAR-ERA, RERA establishment, initial aspects, and then the conclusion after going ahead with this print screening, documentation, registration, complaints, resolution mechanism. Then comes the first part, which is again a compulsory part. I am going to have a break of say 5-10 minutes after this first part. I mean, first assignment, which is compulsory. I have explained number 10, which is compulsory, e-learning Maharera. Now this is second compulsory assignment. After this, I will be taking 10 minutes break or 5 minutes break, and then again you must be ready with your pen, paper, and calculator, because for neighborhood calculations are expected. So it is essential that you all should have the same. Study and analysis of the development plan with respect to land use, services, infrastructure, street furniture, and housing. So as I have explained earlier, it was possible to go ahead with the field visit. And because of that, a questionnaire was prepared. The students were carrying that questionnaire along with them to understand positive and negative points of the area in relation with your land use or services or infrastructure, etc. So I will explain it appropriately. A part, as usual, handwritten. So what is the need of DP? What is the purpose of DP? What types of DP you are observing? Then the contents that are readily available on this particular link. You can refer the contents. And now I will be briefing about on-site aspect first. So B1 will represent on-site aspect. जो आधी आम्ही करत होतो, आधी बघत होतो, जो आधी possible होता. And now second, I will be briefing about off-site aspect. And here I have mentioned one comment, which is representing preferably neighborhood area, because any of the area on-site or off-site, if you are selecting the same area, you can go ahead for the neighborhood plan area. हा जो concept आहे, हा मी तुम्हाला नंतर सांगणार आहे. So B1 represents on-site aspect. So in that case, the site visit was possible. The students were carrying a questionnaire in relation with the land use, the services, infrastructure, street furniture, housing, etc. So the elements that are involved in relation with the town planning, that particular listing they are having with them, and the questionnaire is drafted. Then the analysis and findings after a site visit was possible because of this kind of survey. The additional photographs the students have taken, they have given sufficient support to strengthen that particular analysis. And using these two aspects, the conclusion were drawn. Conclusions, not conclusion. And then for B2, as it was not possible for last 2 years, I have changed that particular pattern because somehow we have to finish with the process and it is compulsory in the syllabus. So what we have done as the second part, because of it was not possible to go ahead with site visit. So students have referred the available development plan documents on official website. If it is Pune Municipal Corporation, old draft was there. Nashik draft was there. Solapur draft was there. Likewise. So you will have to check whether DP document of that particular area on official website of corporation or council is available. Second, what is done? What they have done? They have carried out the comparative analysis between different sectors or sub areas, or they have selected the sector to entire DP in relation with the land use, the services, infrastructure, street furniture, housing, etc. They have carried out the analysis of that particular comparison, and findings were drawn from the work. The conclusions is with them then. So let us check. So first fact, that is B1, when the field visit was there. So they have selected area under PMC. They have visited the areas. They have taken the questionnaire with them for the housing, for community services, for utility facilities, transportation corridors, and they have rated it good, average, bad, or whatever, according to their own questionnaire that they have prepared. And then using that, they have analyzed it and they have mentioned about percentage satisfaction and dissatisfaction for different areas. Like for housing, 40% are satisfied. For open spaces, what kind of satisfaction is there? Likewise, conclusion they have mentioned, and they have additionally taken the photographs to represent or to strengthen that particular documentation. So this was done earlier when the field visit was possible, and then they have highlighted the positivities and also the negativities of the area. So what has happened? These negativities, they are supposed to modify while dealing with the neighborhood planning, if at all, on the same area they are working. This was the added advantage with them. So herein again you can observe different possibilities of presenting the things on full imperial sheet. They have pasted the photographs indicating positivity and negativity of the area likewise. So here also positivities and negativities and the analysis, percentage satisfaction and dissatisfaction. This was the work carried out by the students. And they have put forth the details like benefits are there and opportunities for improvement, different ways for their work. So B2 part. Now what is that B2? B2 represents when they are not able to visit. So they have referred Pune DP report. They have highlighted the points, of course, after the need of DP or so. And then here they have selected sector number 2, sector number 4 for comparative analysis. Now in comparative, and the other students may select sector number 1 and full DP, entire DP. That means the DP which is giving the details of all the sectors. 6 sectors are there for Pune city. So for six sectors, what is happening? So likewise, so now they have carried out for sector number 2 and sector number 4. So in depth, you are supposed to understand in what way you can compare. So you can check for the percentage. Agricultural 0.16, here it is 0.20. Defense is 0, defense is 1.96. Hill slope 12.84, hill slope 13.56. And then you will be referring about the zoning aspect. You can compare for the promotions like residential 25, here it is 21.42. And then perhaps you can give the judgment, you can have the conclusion using this particular aspects. So DP of Pune city, agricultural zone developed in sector number 4 is whatever. So likewise conclusions can be drawn from the comparative analysis. So this is what is done by them. Okay. Okay. So let us start with the detailing of neighborhood planning with the calculation. It is representing again a group work. So what is the first step? The students are supposed to crop the area with a confirmation that the area lies between 10 hectares to 15 hectares. Now, why this is the area? As I have mentioned that for the special township, the need is there. What is that need? 100 acres or 100 hectares? What is mentioned? Anyone? For the special townships, what is the requirement of the area? Anyone can answer. Special township area. In the chat box also you can mention area under special township. What is the requirement? You can search on net.
Ma'am, area of 40 hectares.
40 hectares, that means 100 acre, isn't it? So
100 acres.
40
Yes.
hectares. Yeah. So when I'm mentioning about 40 hectares, normally in that particular special township, you can approximate, after that special township I'm mentioning, you can approximately use the area nearly 25 to 30% of special township area for neighborhood planning. So that is why it lies between 10 to 15 hectares approximately as the area that you are supposed to crop. So this is the justification why we are supposed to select the area. Second is you are supposed to crop the area by observing it on the Google map. So here you can check the area is displayed 14.19 and you can check that this is the road actually present over there. So any road and the adjoining area, any point, any points you can select. See to it that it is not a rectangle typically, isn't it? Some odd shape must be there for that cropped area. The adjoining road width is must be between 18 meter to 24 meter maximum. The north line is indicated on that particular map. Then what is the second step? This particular area, even if it is developed, even if number of buildings are constructed, road network is there, you will be assuming no development. And here lies that particular fact. If at all, आपण अर्लियर डिस्कशन मध्ये बघितलेलं होतं, if at all it is possible for you to visit the area, you can identify the problems within that particular area. So when you are considering no development within the area, how beautifully you can turn the area so as to benefit the resident will be the aim in front of the planner. Here you can observe sometimes the area is vacant. So on vacant land, you can propose anything. However, while dealing with the other area which is constructed, you are assuming that there is no development. Now then 1 hectare is equal to 10,000 square meter and 1 square meter is equal to 10.76 square feet. Now the checkpoint, you are supposed to understand about the population density. Normally 500 to 700 persons per hectare. That kind of expectation you are observing in urbanized area. However, for the other area like semi-urban or rural area, the population density will be lesser. So likewise aspects you are supposed to understand, and the faculty members are requested to give appropriate population density depending upon the choice of the area. Next is these two are also the other aspects. So you can check for the cropped area, which is not actually, I mean, rectangular also with a appropriate road, which will facilitate the entry in the neighborhood. So if you are considering about the calculation part, try to understand. I means you will have to distribute the land into different zones. So in the zone, you are going to concentrate on the residential, commercial. All the students and faculty members, please have your pen and pencil so that it will be possible for you to actually calculate it and understand it. So residential area must be between 50 to 60. Commercial area 10 plus or minus 2. NPI, that is non-polluting industry, because you are planning neighborhood. So neighborhood म्हणजे शेजार, शेजार धर्म येतो. So population करणारी जी सॉरी नॉन पोल्युटिंग इंडस्ट्री. सो पॉप्युलेशन हा शब्द मी चुकून वापरला. नॉन पोल्युटिंग इंडस्ट्री जेव्हा तुम्ही म्हणता, तर नेबरहुड मध्ये त्याची नॉन पोल्युटिंग इंडस्ट्री एखादी असेल तर चालू शकते, पण ज्याच्यामुळे पोल्युशन होतं that kind of industry is strictly to be avoided in neighborhood. So that percentage is 5 plus or minus 2%. Open space minimum 10%. Public semi-public area 0 to 5%, and road width 10 plus or minus 2 percentage. So if you understand this particular distribution, and then further the calculation will be, very well understood by you people. Assumed crop area. Let us start with the discussion actually. Let us assume that the cropped area is, say, 13.7 hectares. Now, 50 to 60, when I'm mentioning, I have selected, say, 55%. So it will represent 0.55 into 13.7 hectares into 10,000 means meter square into 10.76 means finally I am getting square feet. Now why I am mentioning it in square feet when it is essential to understand that particular meter square concept is still normally on site 1200 स्क्वेअर फीटचा फ्लॅट 900 स्क्वेअर फीटचा फ्लॅट असंच बोललं जातं अजूनही. सो दॅट इज वाय आय एम ट्राइंग टू गिव्ह यू द कन्सेप्ट ऑफ स्क्वेअर फीट. So now this residential area of 55% is further to be distributed into different income groups. So EWS, economically weaker section. This is compulsorily to be provided, which is representing 10% of residential area. 10% of residential area that you have planned. So automatically for The remaining income groups, the left out will be 90%. So for 90%, perhaps you may be using 20, 50, 20, or you may be using 15, 60, 15. So what is that 20? 20 belongs to HIG, that is higher income group. 20 belongs to LIG, that is lower income groups. And 50 belongs to MIG, that is middle income group. Higher, middle, lower, and economically weaker section. Then comes the next aspect. So for that residential, I have assumed for this particular calculation, 15% is under HIG, 15% is under LIG, and 60% is under MIG. And for the residential sector, the allowed FSI for that particular locality, I have assumed it to be 1.5. So whatever square feet I am having, out of that square feet, 0.15 will belong to HIG. Whatever value I am getting, this will be the value of the area under HIG. I have multiplied it by 1.5 because the FSI is 1.5. So I am getting the values under HIG, MIG, and LIG. Now, after getting this value under HIG, after multiplication of 1.5, I am getting 182 something something, isn't it? हे 12 आहे. 12 ला मी दीडनी मल्टिप्लाय केलं की 18 काहीतरी 18 काहीतरी येतं. So after getting this particular value, what I have done, I have divided this particular square feet, total square feet under HIG to understand number of families. आता number of families म्हणजे कशा काढणार? तर नॉर्मली हायर इन्कम ग्रुपचे जे फ्लॅट्स किंवा जे बंगलोज असतात ते साधारण 1200 ते 1500 स्क्वेअर फीट इतकी तरी मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट आपण ऍझ्युम करणार आहोत. So to this entire area, after having FSI calculation, I mean, after multiplying it by 1.5, whatever I am getting, I have divided it by that particular value. I may be using 1200, I may using 1500 or in between. So whatever I am assuming, using that, I am getting, say, whatever I have assumed, because of which I am getting 135 as the total family count. Similarly, for LIG, again, you can just check 121,615. Similar to HIG, कारण आपण assume काय केलंय 15%. So lower income group ला, again, I have multiplied it by 1.5. So I am getting 182,422 square feet total count. However, now for lower income group, normally 1 BHK is the assumption. So for that 1 BHK, it is 550 to 650. So out of that 550 to 650, anything I can use, and whatever I am using that I am getting, say, 304 families. MIG, parallelly, here you are getting 486, 460 into 1.5. I am getting 729, 690, slightly on lower side for MIG in relation with HIG, and slightly higher from LIG, so that the range is 900 to 1100. Using that, I am getting 729 as the total count. Then comes options. In what way I can go ahead with the options? So for HIG, it may be bungalow, it may be a twin bungalow, it may be a row house, apartment, flat. For MIG, same concept. but the area is different. That is why I have written 1 1 1 suffix 1 1 1. Here it will be 2 2 2 2 likewise. And different permutations and combinations are possible for distribution of the area. For example, I have counted HIG families as 135, out of which 120 may be representing combination of twin bungalow. So it will be 120 divided by 2. So 60 plans of twin bungalow are to be mentioned or are to be positioned on your cropped area. And the leftover, आता हे 120 होतं, त्यातले 60 प्लॅन्स आपण काढले ऑलरेडी, कारण 60 ला आपण मिरर इमेज असते ट्विन बंगलो, दॅट यू नो बिकॉज यू हॅव फिनिश्ड विथ युअर BTAP, बिल्डिंग टेक्नॉलॉजी अँड आर्किटेक्चरल प्लॅनिंग. तर ट्विन बंगलो म्हणजे देर इज अ कॉमन वॉल इन बिटवीन. सो रिमेनिंग जे आहेत त्याला मी 15 बंगलो मध्ये मी कन्वर्ट करू शकते. ऑर काय दुसरा ऑप्शन असू शकतो, 135 फॅमिली. अगेन हा 120चा काउंट मी तसाच ठेवणार आहे समजा. तर व्हॉट आय कॅन डू, हे 15 बंगलो आहे तसेच रिटेन ठेवले. फॉर 120 काउंट विच इज टू बी सॅटिस्फाईड, तिथे मी काय काय करू शकते कॉम्बिनेशन्सला. तर बघा, आय कॅन हॅव 2 अपार्टमेंट्स ऑन अ फ्लोअर and the building is 5 storied. So 2 5s are 10 and 120 divided by 10 will give me 12 such buildings. Again, I will repeat. I have to somehow reach to this 120. So what I can do, 2 apartments on a floor and such 5-storied building is there. So 2 5s are 10 and 10 12s are 120. So this is how I am getting 120 plus 15 as 135 families. Then the population count. Similar way, I want to add over here itself. On similar lines, you can very well check for the combination for MIG as well as LIG. इकॉनॉमिकली वीकर सेक्शनला एरिया खूपच कमी असते, 300 वगैरे स्क्वेअर फीट. यू कॅन ॲज्युम अँड यू कॅन काउंट फॉर नंबर ऑफ फॅमिलीज. नाउ से हाऊ टू हॅव population density check. So for population density check, economically weaker section, 10% of the residential area, which is made compulsory. So I am having the count. This is for HIG, this is for MIG, and this is for LIG. So HIG family, higher income group असला की माणसं कमी आहेत, आणि as you are reaching towards economically weaker section, फॅमिलीचा साईज वाढत जातो. So 3 to 4 persons in one family for HIG, 4 to 5 persons in MIG, 5 to 6 persons in LIG, and then 6 to 8 persons for economically weaker section. So 135 HIG चा काउंट आला माझा 540, 729 चा माझा आला 3645, 304. I am getting some value 1824 or so. And for economically weaker section, मी काय म्हटलं होतं, 10% of the area. So total area divided by 10%. इथे एक 0 होता आपला आधी. So that 0 is removed. FSI is 1.5 and I have assumed the area which is to be given to EWS as 300 square feet. So here I am getting number of families. First bracket will give me number of families, and here I am getting 6 to 8 number of person, anything I can have. So I am getting some summation 3 2 4 3. So 540 540 plus 3645 plus 1824 plus 3243, that summation I am getting as 9252. Now try to understand. This 9252, you are supposed to divide by original area and not the area under रेसिडेन्शियल. म्हणजे 55% आपली व्हॅल्यू वेगळी आलेली होती, ती नाही घ्यायची आहे. यू आर कॅल्क्युलेटिंग परमनंट रेसिडेंट्स ऑफ द एंटायर एरिया. अदर पॉप्युलेशन इज फ्लोटिंग पॉप्युलेशन, जे सर्व्हिस द्यायला येतं त्या एरियामध्ये. दिस इज व्हॉट इज टू बी अंडरस्टूड. सो दिस 9252 divided by original area will give you 675.33, which is in between 500 to 700 persons per hectare. So it is correct. Sometimes जर का तुमचा काउंट तुम्ही प्रत्येक ठिकाणी जास्त घेतला, लाईक 4, यू आर अज्युमिंग. हॅलो हॅलो, प्लीज म्यूट युअरसेल्फ. If you are considering about higher value 4, 5, 6 and 8, perhaps this will be very large and hence that will cross 700. So if you are assuming over here 4, here you can have 4, then it is 6 and then you can have 7. Likewise, some combination, permutation combinations you will have to have, so that it must be fitting between 500 to 700 persons per hectare. And now the next part, actual drawing. Sorry, prior to that, commercial, public and semi-public, for which assumed FSI is 2. So that summation is 12%. Out of 12% of 13.7, you are getting some area. This some area you will be using for indicating the hotel, school, museum, vegetable market, anything, whatever it comes under commercial and public, semi-public. So distribution is possible. So summation of C1, C2, C3, C4, whatever you are mentioning over there, you are going to get the built-up area. So this built-up area must be between or must be equal to this. And then comes the concept sheet that you may be observing. So you may be writing the aims of neighborhood, what you are promoting in the neighborhood, then the actual plan with the color code of the development plan, and then the pie charts indicating the area under residential, commercial, etc. So here also you can observe this is representing the area. Here try to understand the positivity of the work that the students have carried. This is actually the location of Shanwarwada. After crossing it here, somewhere here you are observing Lal Mahal. And then here the other area, Natuwada, is there. So this entire area they have mentioned as conserved area, conservation, urban conservation. And then the adjoining area is developed. So somewhere here you can observe that the glue shed is there. And this Dagdu shed in the skyline, you can observe it over here. So what is that skyline? Skyline is, if I am taking the section through the premise or the selected area, any section, then whatever you are observing in the elevation, as per your own proposal, you are supposed to draw. So this is the skyline. So here some commercial area they have promoted over here. This is the conserved area. This is the conserved area, like urban conservation ला जसं मी म्हटलं तसं हा जो आहे, this is representing one building near शनिवारवाडा. This is actual शनिवारवाडा. हा थोडासा तिरका कट होता म्हणून section width तुम्हाला वेगळी दिसेल. And here also you can observe that bridge is there. Bridge means some pillars are there, and this is the water body. So this is what is expected to be drawn using color code. And then this is representing the pie chart, percentage distribution of the planned area. Again, this is the concept sheet, what you can promote. This is the work done by the students. Here actually Arabian Sea is there, and this is the actual area that they have studied. So they have used the concept of CRZ. After the limit of CRZ only, they have I mean, they have tried to put up the proposal. And of course, you will understand that near to seashore, HIG families are put forth. Current त्यांचे bungalows आहेत. So here the height of the buildings is less, and here for the group housing, here you can observe this is group housing, how beautifully planned in the petal form you can observe. So these buildings are having more height as compared to the bungalows, and this area is commercial area. Again, this is representing the distribution, and this is the skyline. So this is the mall, small mall. And as you are moving towards the end, the cut is representing the mega mall. Likewise. Again, this is representing the concept sheet. In the neighborhood, what you can provide is recreation, shopping center, aims are mentioned. Here something is mentioned, but I'm not able to read it appropriately. Industrial zone, of course, non-polluting, internal streets and facilitation. So likewise, you can mention on the concept. And this is the plan with the color code, which she has promoted with the distribution and the skyline. Again, this is the same plan. Conserved area. मगाशी जे होतं तेच आहे. पण दुसऱ्या मुलांनी काढलं तर त्यांनी सेम पॅटर्न घेतला नाही आणि स्वतःच वेगळं एक काहीतरी एंटिटी लावली. सो यू कॅन ऑल्सो डू दॅट काइंड ऑफ थिंग. स्काय. So thank you for patient listening. You can start with the calculation part of the same. Is there any doubt? Students can ask me the questions. You can start with the calculation part. Yes. So I
Yeah.
want to add a fewer things. By any chance, if you haven't understood anything, you can send me the mail, and otherwise you can even have a dialogue on WhatsApp also, because you know my number now. The second thing, we will be giving the certificate to the attendees only, so that the feedback will be accepted by the attendees only. Nilofer madam and Pallavi madam has already downloaded uh, that particular attendance. The next part that I want to mention is the thanks. Uh, I want to give the thanks to my head of the department, the principal, and all the faculty members, those who have helped me a lot. Like Shastri sir is backbone of the department. Lokhande sir, backbone of our college, that is Sinhagad College of Engineering. He is principal, beloved principal of our college. Then the management, top management, Professor M.N. Navle, Dr. Mrs. Sunanda Navle, Rachana Madam, and Rohit sir. They are always giving us support for such kind of activities. So I am very much, really very much thankful to all of them. I will not have any other word to say for them. And YP Reddy sir, Dr. YP Reddy sir, he is our vice principal. So he is very keen in giving such kind of opportunities always to us and the guidelines, required guidelines he is offering. I am really thankful to my coordinators, Pallavi Shinde madam and Nilofer Makandar madam, for smooth conduction of this particular workshop. So also Vinayak, then Yadav Rao, and one more member, non-teaching member. I just missed out his name because he has joined recently. So they have also helped me a lot while dealing with taking up of the photographs. So I'm thanking them also. So Nilofer,
Yes,
really
ma'am.
very much thank you for your efforts, and Pallavi. Now you can go ahead with the
Thank you, ma'am.
conclusion.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So on behalf of Civil Engineering Department, I would like to express my vote of thanks to the our today's speaker who spread her valuable time from her busy schedule. It was very full of knowledge and enlightened us to understand the theories and concepts of the subject architecture and town planning. So I hope this webinar will be really helpful for students and all faculty members, those who have attended this today's webinar session. And I would also like to thank our HOD, Dr. S.S. Shastri and Dr. S.D. Lokande sir, our principal of SCOE, for giving permission for organizing this webinar and inviting Professor V.S. Limaye madam to conduct it. And also, lastly, I thank all the student faculty members for paying your attention and learning. Thank you. So,
Yes.
ma'am, by taking your permission, can I end the meeting?
Yes, yes, you can.
Yes, ma'am.